Hi everyone, welcome back. Or if you're just joining, my name is Maya and welcome to my channel, Cranley Place, where I'm posting content on scarf style, knot tutorials, and more. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to be notified of new videos, which I'm publishing weekly. The rollout continues. In my past 2 episodes, I shared some of the upcoming Hermès scarf designs in the Fall-Winter 2022 scarf collection. In this video, I have several more to show you, with even more popping up on their global websites. Let's take a look. Okay, before you think, why is she showing this for a 3rd week in a row? I promise I'll be quick. This is a new colorway that we haven't yet seen. If you look at the one next to it, that's more of a coral, which is lovely, but of course, orange is so classically Hermès. That's it. Moving on. Here is a gorgeous new 90 centimeter silk twill design called Le Sacre des Saisons, or the Coronation of the Seasons. This is by Pierre, who describes himself as an artist ornamentalist, or someone who decorates everything. He was first tapped by Hermès in 2010, at that time becoming the youngest person to create scarves, now over 20 and counting, for the legendary fashion house. First off, wow, there are so many things I love about this scarf, not the least of which are the balletic poses by the 4 Seasons. In that regard, it does remind me of Annie Febvre's design Les Ballets Russes, which is another classic and certainly one of my favorites. Anyways, you can see spring covered in flowers, summer with the Grand Soleil headdress, fall with its leaf-colored wings, and winter with its snowflake-laden cape. These seasonal beings are separate but equal and inextricably intertwined in this circle that is both literal in this case and symbolic. This is shown here in 5 colorways so far, again, all with contrasting hems. I personally love the anthracite gold and caramel colorway, but if that turns out to be too blue and therefore in violation of my no more blue scarves fast, I would probably go for the Vieux Rose colorway, a universally flattering color. And who doesn't want to feel like $1,000,000? Now here's a darling 45 centimeter silk twill, which is a direct spin-off of the 90 centimeter design I just showed you. This is the first time I think I've seen Hermès do this, especially in the same season, to do a détail version in a 45 centimeter smaller format. This one colorway that's shown here feels a bit Christmassy with its red, white, and green braid. And it certainly doesn't help that, even if it's not, the animal does remind me a little bit of a rat, so I'm really thinking of the Nutcracker right now. But this cafe latte color with the pinks, I love it. Here's another one I covered last week, and I mention again only briefly to share the new colorways. A gorgeous navy with teals, grays, and pinks, as well as a vibrant Hermès orange, with a horse composed of these lighter florals of grays, greens, yellows, and browns. Both feel so fresh, and look at the contrast hems. This one I mentioned a few weeks ago, and now we can see some of the available colorways. This Brussels-based illustrator once said, quote, "As a child, it's a first activity that you do, except for eating bland sauce, sleeping, and pooping," end quote, when he was explaining why he was drawn to illustration as a medium. Apparently growing up, he did not have a TV and said he would draw every situation and picture that came to mind, which obviously influenced his love of telling stories through drawing. He himself agrees that his actual illustration style is hard to pin down, saying, quote, "How can I describe my style? Ligne claire, simple, precise, Rotring 2.0, funny, comical, weird? This is the hardest question you can ask a comics artist," end quote. Well, I'd say it's probably all of the above, right? Now, this scarf was only shown in 2 colorways so far, and I do love how on one side it looks like a traditional comic, and the other with these striking blocks of color, feeling more reminiscent to me of a dip dye wash. How do they do this? Okay, this one I also mentioned the other week and obviously want to share the new colorways that have appeared. What wasn't clear from the initial photos, or shame on me for not noticing, is that these not only have contrast hems, but they're striped. This next design is by none other than Alice Shirley, who's been working with the house since 2012, bringing us many highly collected designs like Under the Waves, Into the Canadian Wild, Jaguar Quetzal, Wild Singapore, Three Graces, and more. Sous Le Charme d'Orphée, translating to Under the Spell of Orpheus, is a hypnotic vision of this ancient Greek legendary hero. In Greek mythology, Orpheus was a musician, poet, and prophet, son of a muse, likely Calliope, the patron of epic poetry, and a king of Thrace, although other versions name Apollo actually as the father. Reportedly taught to play the lyre by the god Apollo, it was said that Orpheus's music had the ability to charm animals and make trees and even rocks dance. Alice Shirley captures this mythological figure in her singular style, which is now made twice as compelling in this double-faced scarf. Shown here in only 2 colorways so far, I love the contrast of the full-colored version on one side, complemented by the more monochromatic on the other. I suspect this will be at the top of many people's wish lists, including my own. Here is another one I mentioned the other week, En Liberté by Carine Brancowitz. When I look at this scarf, it really does make me smile just thinking about a dog's sheer joy when they are off leash or en liberté, running freely. I will also add that our dog parks here look nothing like this, so wow, if only, right? If you look closely, her design really does capture the range of emotions and behaviors that you might see. From, of course, sniffing everything, leaping after birds or critters, sometimes quietly observing other dogs, or just plain running around. In that sense, this scarf feels very joyful and makes me smile thinking about the innocence of how dogs experience the world. So far on the French site, they're showing 2 colorways, and we know from my video the other week that there are at least 2 other colorways as well. I love the variety of this design, and you can see that even from these mod shots, it will make for some very interesting styling possibilities. So far, I am loving this ivory, green, and yellow version. Here's a new giant cashmere triangle based on the Hermès classic Etriers silk scarf designed by Francoise de la Perrière and originally issued, I believe, in 1964, and it's been reissued multiple times since. Etriers translates to stirrups, which have a fascinating history, with the earliest known evidence of a stirrup being excavated in India from 2nd century BC. It was a cornelian seal depicting a rider on a horse, his foot resting on a stirrup made of wood in a hook-style L-shaped format. In medieval Europe, the Avars, which were a Turkish tribe of nomads, discovered stirrups during a war with Central Asia, and eventually it was a war with the Byzantine Empire that led to the introduction of riding stirrups use in Europe. But it was in the 1200s, thanks to the Mongolian force of Genghis Khan, that metal stirrups were introduced to the world of riding. Using metal allowed Mongolian riders unrivaled mobility, stability, and balance, which gave them a great tactical advantage in any battle. At any rate, this giant cashmere triangle is shown so far in at least 3 colorways. Personally, I love the one with a teal border, and if I can convince myself that it's not really blue, maybe it'll end up on my wish list. We'll see. And here's another new giant cashmere triangle. I'm sure fans will recognize the unique style of Jan Bajtlik here with its echoes of Animopolis. It may interest Hermès fans to know that Bajtlik, in addition to his work with the house, has also designed several children's books, as well as posters and illustrations. According to a recent interview, when asked about what inspires his art, he said, quote, "I'm inspired by a lot of things, from early Mesopotamian culture to 90s design and the Polish poster tradition. I'm not so interested in graphic design trends. In the end, I think it's important to work for everyone, and you have to work with love, fun, and passion," end quote. I'd say that playful yet sophisticated approach is well reflected in this design, which I've seen so far in 3 colorways, each of which have contrast hems. I am swooning over the ochre colorway, which does have hints of blue in it, unfortunately for me, but I could easily be swayed to this one. Of course, many Hermès fans have been eagerly awaiting this design, which was introduced last year as a 90cm silk twill and earlier this year as a twilly. Gianpaolo's theatrical design was inspired by engravings from the Macherie d'Épinal, originally a printing house founded in 1796. From the 18th century through the early 20th, it played a major role in spreading popular knowledge through its illustrations of political and historical events, religious culture, and children's education. Épinal prints were typically rendered in bright, sharp colors, which we certainly see in some of the available colorways here. These days, the expression image d'Épinal has become somewhat proverbial in French and refers to an emphatically traditionalist and naive portrayal of something, even cliché, showing only its good aspects. This design, of course, combines his unique stamp-based aesthetic with the Épinal engraving style. The Cashmere GM is available in at least 5 colorways, not all yet here in the US, but at least we know they're coming. This next one is a stunning new 140cm cashmere design by none other than Pierre Marie. Harnais en Rosace, translating to rosette harness, is a beautiful composition of harnesses overlaid in the form of, guess what, a rosette. Rosettes are decorative accessories typically used for bridles. I like to think of them as scarf rings for horse tack. These two have an interesting history in that for thousands of years, horse owners have adorned bridles with these types of ornaments. But they're not only decorative. Rosettes served the functional purpose of securing the bridle headstall. They also revealed important characteristics about a horse's owner. In ancient and medieval times, bridle rosettes were made of metals, such as iron, bronze, and copper. And then, as the industrialized manufacturing flourished in the 1800s, the rosettes were created with glass domes enclosing hand-painted artwork, die cuts, pictures, and even photographs. Bridle rosettes identified the military war horse, adorned the bridle of horses carrying their riders to a funeral or a wedding, advertised businesses and fraternal organizations, and even served as ornaments depicting favorite activities of the time, such as hunting. Shown so far in 4 colorways. If I had to choose one, I would probably get this Poitron version, although it does have a touch of blue in it, so damn you, Hermès! So there you have it, more of the upcoming Fall-Winter 2022 scarves from Hermès. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments. In my next episode, I have even more from the Fall-Winter collection that I'd like to share, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified of new videos. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time!